So the Eurovision Song Contest 2018 is coming very soon now. Many people who are not from Europe might not even know what I'm talking about. For many Europeans though, the anticipating has begun and the tension is rising. So in this video, let's talk a little bit about the Eurovision Song Contest. So what is it all about? What can we expect for this year? Who are the favorites? I'm gonna talk about all of that in just a second. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, my name is Percy Jules and today we're going to talk about the Eurovision Song Contest. So first of all, for those of you that are not familiar with it, what exactly is the Eurovision Song Contest? So the Eurovision Song Contest is a yearly event. Basically every country in Europe is participating. Every country is represented by one artist performing one song. At the end, each country can cast votes to any country but themselves until there is one winner. That's it. So it's actually very easy to explain what it is, but it's very difficult to put into words the cultural value and the cultural impact of it, because it has a lot of history. You know, it started back in 1956, so it's been going on for many years, and throughout those years it has evolved into a kind of subcultural phenomenon, you know, with its own rules and its own context, and not in the least musically, by the way. The music has been very typical, you know, there's a very distinctive type of songs that's very typical for this event. So to really appreciate these songs, you sometimes need to listen to them through a very particular filter. You know, you kind of need to understand the context of the Eurovision Song Contest for that. Although I have to say that nowadays more and more participating artists seem to be going with a more mainstream kind of music. Now, the Eurovision Song Contest is not only about the songs themselves. I mean, you can have a good song, but then you'd only be halfway there. This event is also very much about the live performance. You know, so the vocal performance, the stage presence, the timing, the act, the emotions, and all of that within that very unique context of the Eurovision Song Contest. So listening to a studio version of a song and seeing it being performed live on stage at the Eurovision Song Contest can be two totally different experiences. So what can we expect for this year's edition? Now, first of all, the event will take place in Lisbon in Portugal, as Portugal is last year's winner, of course. There is a total of 43 entries, so 43 performances we can look forward to. I've actually already listened to all of the 43 songs, all of the 43 studio versions of the songs, and in my opinion, it's a very typical collection of songs, very typical for the Eurovision Song Contest. So there isn't really anything out of the ordinary there. Individually, some of the songs are a bit out of the ordinary, but that is also very typical for the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, as I mentioned, the tension is rising, so who is going to do well? Who is going to win? Well, let's first go over a few of my personal favorites. Okay, first let's talk about France. France is sending a formation called Madame Monsieur. The song they'll be performing is called Merci. It's a kind of ballad type of pop song. It's pop music. It's very uncomplicated and therefore very accessible for most people. And I really like this song. Okay, next is Ireland. Ireland will be represented by Ryan O'Shaughnessy. He'll be performing a song called Together. It's basically a pop ballad, I would say, with some folk music elements in there also. It's very cheerful, very positive. It's a nice feel-good song, basically. Okay, next on my list is Bulgaria. They will be represented by a formation called Equinox. Bones is the title of the song. It is basically a very good modern pop song with a lot of suspense, I would almost call it. Look out for that one. Okay, next is Austria. Austria is represented by a singer called Caesar Sampson, and the title of the song is Nobody But You. Now, the music is kind of a mixture of pop, R&B, soul and gospel music, and I just think it's a very nice little song. Okay, and last but certainly not least is the UK. The United Kingdom is represented by a singer called Surrey. Storm is the name of the song, and the music is, the song has a kind of traditional core, but it is dressed up as a modern pop song. It's also very cheerful. It emits a very positive energy. It's also very mainstream, and I think it also might do very well in the charts. So those are some of my personal favorites. Now let's also take a look at some of the favorites according to the bookmakers. Okay, first up is Australia. It'll be the 4th time they will be present at the Eurovision Song Contest. So since 2015 they have been actively participating. They're sending Jessica Mauboy, and she'll be performing a modern pop song called We Got Love. Okay, next is Bulgaria. But I've already mentioned Bulgaria, as it is also one of my personal favorites. So let's move on to the Czech Republic. They'll be represented by a singer called Mikolas Joseph. He'll be performing a song called Lie to Me, and according to the bookmakers, this is also one to look out for. Okay, Estonia is the next one on the list. The singer is called Elina Nechayeva. The song is La Forza. La Forza is a ballad, but it is sung, or at least the chorus is sung with an opera kind of vocal technique, and that makes it stand out a bit. Okay, and finally Israel. Well, Israel is sending a singer called Netta, and she'll be performing a song called Toy. Well, according to the bookmakers, Israel has actually been the absolute favorite for a while, so don't be surprised if in the end they will take the crown. So that's 5 of the hot favorites according to the bookmakers, but of course the only way to know for sure who will be the winner is just to wait until the 12th of May. That's when the final will take place in Lisbon. I for one am really looking forward to it. Anyway, this has been a preview of the upcoming Eurovision Song Contest. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon.